I've just laid all the tile in the mudroom, and now we have to get ready for grouting. These tile levelers were really easy to use, and with a swift kick, we're out of the way. Laying the tile was a relatively clean process, but in some spots, the mortar squeezed up into the cracks a bit. I had cleaned out as much as I could before, but after removing the levelers, there was more to do. I used this grout removal tool to clean the lines and leave enough space to have a proper amount of grout. After vacuuming really well, the floor was finally ready for grout. Mixing grout. Let me just say this now. Timing through the entire process is super important. You need to wait the proper amount of time, but wait for too long and you're scraping away hardened grout. Make sure to read the instructions on your bag or box to know that you'll have ample time to do everything as described. I didn't waste any time and got right to applying the grout. I started with the section of the floor that will be underneath the washer and dryer. Just in case something was blatantly wrong with the mixture, the mistake would be easily hidden. It looked good, so I kept going. I used a putty knife to get the grout out of the bucket and a float to move it around and fill in the lines. In order to get it to fill in the spaces properly, it's important to drag the float across the lines at a 45-degree angle, going back and forth in multiple directions until it's filled in all the way. I kept going until I had completed about half the floor, which took about 18 minutes. Right away, I got my sponge and clean water bucket and started wiping down the tiles. You just want the sponge to be damp and primarily get all the excess grout cleaned away, especially what's on top of the tiles. I had a little bit more grout in this batch, so I hit a small area right in front of the doorway. A little bit later, as described by my bag of grout, I used a cheesecloth to gently scrape away any excess grout on top of the tiles, as well as get the grooves of grout between the tiles to be nice and smooth. I followed that up with a thorough vacuuming to collect all the dust. A second batch of grout covered the majority of the rest of the floor. I followed the same steps: application with a float, wipe off with a wet sponge, let it dry for a bit, cheesecloth, and vacuum. The last little bit of grout is the step and a small spot next to it. I wanted to do the step in a small batch so I could be extra careful filling in the spots around the edges. Gotta try to keep those shiny metal bits nice and clean looking. The bottom edges need to have grout pushed into the seams. The step and floor look so good. I've had bad experiences with tile in the past, so it was a big relief to have this entire process go relatively smooth and come out looking better than I imagined. This mudroom is really starting to transform now. Cabinets are up next. Okay, that's it for now. See ya.
Hey, we have a stinky.